Why are we told so many lies? Why can I just drop the guy down on a random street in India and see the way that we build today? Something that a civilization that is going backwards would throw together and be very proud of. Until you spin the camera to the right and see that the old world is staring right down at it, completely embarrassing it. A palace from the past. The previous civilization didn't just build one. They built thousands of them all over the world. And we have shown this, especially when we spin this camera all the way around and see this structure. A structure that does not belong in our timeline. Something that has been here for much longer than what we have been told. Today, this building is used as a central railway headquarters. Imagine this being constructed in your town today, located in Mumbai, India, with a population today of over 12 million people, the largest city in India. This building was the replacement, we are told. Yet again, a reoccurring narrative, completed 7 years before the invention of the power tool in 1888. 136 years ago, with photos that will blow your mind. Horses and donkeys, wagons and chisels, living in sheds, and building palace train stations. Are we sure? Well, let's keep going. Pinned to this group again. All over the world, they just take care of our favorite locations. It's very nice of them. I find it very interesting that they are interested in the exact same research, the same structures that we are. Coincidence? An interesting note here is that this is located in India. Do you find it odd that there are individuals on the side of this building in stone that do not resemble the people of India today? They can make up a story all they want, saying that one of them was a wealthy Hindu businessman. But I think it's very obvious at this point that these people were of importance to the past, a past that was further back than what we are being told. Are you still on the fence that the truth isn't being told to us? I'll go deeper. In the 1950s, authorities had begun to remove statues of the British figures. British figures or the people that didn't fit in with the region? You tell me. The old world, removing the figures from the government buildings and public spaces based on a directive from the government of India. Most of the statues, not all the statues, but most of them, were sent to Victoria Gardens, where they were left lying in the grass, in the open, for 30 years. A right to information report was filed, but had no records of the missing statues being exported out of India. Of course it didn't. There were no records. Historians now believe that the statue or statues were smuggled out, sold by politicians, or destroyed. Destroying statues of the past. Now, do you think anything is off? Or are you still believing the mainstream story? Do you think that it's odd that all the statues that resemble the individuals on the wall were all removed and destroyed? Let me know in the comments below. The ones on the wall couldn't just be removed. They are on the wall. So they were forced to make up a story about those. But we all know that these individuals depict the past, the previous civilization. They were not from our timeline, in my opinion. And this is what they're hiding in the 1950s. Our true history, our true past. It's incredible. Destroying all of the old world's work, their statues, leaving some of them in the grass for 30 years. This information was hiding right in front of our faces for so many years. And now that you've seen it, you will never unsee it. And you will be able to connect the dots faster and faster, especially when we see that the supposed architect that they pinned to this building was Frederick William Stevens, an employee of the British government, a man pinned as the guy born in 1847. Frederick William Stevens started building his first project, the Royal Alfred Sailor's Home, in 1872. He was only 25 years old. It was a small house where the sailors could rest after sailing the sea. Oh wait, no? It wasn't? No, of course it wasn't. The 25-year-old is pinned to this, a palace, the Royal Alfred Sailor's Home. 25 years old. In the year 1872, a British government employee with no experience. This was his first project, completed in just 4 years. We are told, with the chunky stone facade, detailing having architectural sculpture in Bath stone, all done by Richard and his son, the Mason. And now we're even getting this same sun nod over in India. It's all over the world. This narrative repeats itself. We have obviously found a character that was used as the front guy for old world palaces. This building still stands on this site today. We can zoom in on the front of this thing at the top. We have old world technology, in my opinion, with Neptune in the middle, mermaids, sea lions, and the rest. Like we have shown, these depictions of the past are all over these buildings. They were depicting what they knew about the world and putting it in stone. I believe that the creatures depicted, they were here, and they may still be here. And would you like to go inside and see what kind of things that they've destroyed in the inside of this place? Or are they hiding it from you? Unfortunately, it is not possible for non-official visitors to go inside this high security building now, if you can believe it. Again, hiding our true past, built by a 25-year-old, we're told. Nothing against 25-year-olds, again. But 1870s, 25 years old, knocking out a palace? Anybody? And we can't enter the building today, destroying statues of the past. The building was acquired by the government of India in 1928 and making this sailor's home the police headquarters in 1982. Do you find this odd? Even the historians are confused here, saying it looks more like a luxurious hotel with large airy rooms and bathrooms. And then we get a great photo of Donkeys Incorporated, the incredible shipping company that helped bring the stone to the site. Frederick William Stevens, a man pinned to the old world buildings. I believe that everybody should be on the same page at this point. But if there are a few people that are still skeptical, I'm going to turn this up a notch and show you more of his work. I'm going to show you that what we have been told is far from the truth. Located in South Mumbai, we are given the Municipal Corporation building, again, pinned to Frederick William Stevens, and completed in 1893, 2 years before the power tool. A building that is going to give it all away. This building was built by a much more advanced previous civilization that seems to have left their mark on all of these buildings. And when you know what to look for, like we all do here, we are going to find it when we see that in South Mumbai, India, there is a griffin sculpture on the building. A griffin, yet again, a clear connection to the old world. When the Tartaria logo, a massive country from the past that is not taught in our history today, this country of Tartaria holds the symbol of a griffin on their flag. Going inside, we see that the central dome is built with perfection, precision. It's absolutely incredible stuff. Going back to this picture, you can see that the whole street is covered in this architecture. It's not just this building. Palace after palace. Oh, and it has an angel above the front door. If you've seen the last few episodes, you'll know what I mean. The plate here in the front of this is clearly covering something up. The true identity of this building is obviously under this rusted plate. It's embarrassing the things that we put on the old world's work. Come on, India. Look at that rust. Clean it up. With more old world tech at the top. No mistakes in the 1800s, where according to DonkeysIncNews.com, Stevens himself, as a baby, no training necessary, of course, he would lift that donkey high into the air, late into the night, while the town was at rest. Baby Stevens would saddle up that donkey, climb on that donkey's back, and chisel all of that stone up there at the top perfectly. And we're just getting started today. Mr. Frederick William Stevens, Mumbai, we are not done yet. A vacant 30,322 square foot palace, 130 rooms and 3 floors. We have the Raj Mahal, pinned to the same exact guy yet again. And this place has just been ruined. Our civilization found this building and clearly have no idea how to maintain their structures, letting it just deteriorate and using it until it looks the way we see it today, a total mess, and then abandoning it. And we all know what happens next. Destruction. And then wiping it from our timeline. So this has happened so many times and we know this. So it's time to expose the narrative and get everybody on board here. I'm going to show you something that should blow your mind. Here we go. We have the Gateway of India, an arch monument located on the waterfront of Mumbai, India. We are told that the foundation stone was laid in March of 1913 and completed in 1924. The problem is that there's a massive issue with this claim. We have a photo of this structure from 1911, predating the foundation stone by 2 years. So what's their excuse for this photo? Because it better be a good one. The Gateway of India was built to commemorate the arrival of George V on December 2nd, 1911. However, they only got to see a cardboard model of the monument. They are saying that this right here was a cardboard model. Does this look like a cardboard model to you? This narrative looks like a lie to me, as construction did not begin until 1915, when we were just told that construction began in 1913. The narrative is all over the place, telling us that this is a cardboard model. This is possibly the most insane thing that we have been told to this point. Absolutely unbelievable. I cannot believe that we believed this narrative for so many years. Clearly, somebody made a mistake and shared this photo with all of us, and they had to figure something out. We needed to take a minute, and we have got to think about this conversation that they had creating this story. There must have been a couple guys in the room, and they had to figure something out. They gotta be saying, okay, the photo got released, and we definitely didn't want that to happen, so now we gotta fix it. So what do? Well, we can say it was a temporary structure before the real one, just like we do at the World's Fairs. Why would we build one before the original though? Well, just say we were in a rush for some queen or king to arrive. Great, yes, I love it. And what material was it made of? Stone? Marble? What? Cardboard? Yes, that's perfect. Cardboard, sure. But sir, what about the wind? Shut your mouth. There was no wind that day, of course. The people will love this story for years to come. The Cardboard Palace. Amazing. This is a mess. Construction did not begin until 1915. And literally, right next to that, construction started March 31st, 1913. Unbelievable. The Cardboard Palace. Can you believe it? What were we doing believing this nonsense for so many years? Who's the architect? Here, George Whitted. This is how we unlock so many old world structures, because they used the exact same character and pinned that character to the rest of the palaces. Whitted designed some of Mumbai's best known landmarks, and they've changed the name obviously, where this first one was formerly named the Prince of Wales Museum of Western India. Now it's named this, the CSMVS. Right. And here it is, another palace, of course. And we knew that this was going to happen because we are correct. If we were wrong, these patterns wouldn't exist. We would have been proven wrong like a year ago. But the fact that it works all over the world, it proves that we are correct. They have renamed everything in this city, just like we just showed. They've even renamed the city, which used to be named Bombay. We know that they changed the names of these palaces, attempting to throw us off while researching, in hopes that one would stop researching, because it becomes too confusing. Well, that's not going to happen, because now that we know its true name, we will find even more information of the city of Bombay. Dirt roads and palaces in the background, horses and wagons. It's incredible stuff. And right next to this gateway, we have the Taj Mahal Palace and Towers Hotel. What an incredible city, with an aerial shot here of both of these structures. On November 29th, 2008, the Taj Hotel suffered devastating damage during the attacks, where a lot of the building was destroyed by fire. The buildings that are here today are very important in understanding our past. They open the door for us to see that there was a previous civilization here, a civilization that were masters of construction, showing us physical evidence that they held technology that was extremely advanced all over the world. These structures and sites are constantly under attack. We see it all the time today. And then you have to be able to understand that this has been going on for such a long time. They have been removing old world buildings, and removing them is the key. Because when they're all gone, we will all forget, and we will all believe their stories, because we're not going to have any proof of the past to present. Now, going back to Whitted, I want to show the rest of his buildings. The Institute of Science, knowing that it was called Bombay. You can then find these photos. When you type in Mumbai, this photo would never show up. You have Donkey's Ink right out front, enjoying the day. It's incredible what Bombay opens up for us. I could look at these pictures all day. Just a totally different world. These people were probably so confused. Going home to their sheds, going to the bathroom in the yard, dirt roads, and parking their horses outside of palaces in the town. This guy over here is waving to his friend, heading over to Palace number 8 for his monthly game of pick up sticks. What else are we told that Whitted designed? The Small Causes Court. Here's an older photo of it, and here it is today. Looking nice and run down. Great job, Mumbai. Then we get the Wadia Maternity Hospital, your average palace hospital, the Bombay House, when in 2011, a major fire broke out in the Bombay House. And then the building holds a basement. Of course it does. If you're new here, these buildings all have tunnels. They're all connected underground. And if you're interested in learning more, we have 93 episodes to this point, exposing this topic. Everything from catacombs to tunnels, forbidden maps, angels helping construct palaces, caves, the location of Mu, great fires in every city that took basically 0 lives, yet destroyed thousands of buildings, orphan asylums, insane asylums, airships and photo manipulation, AI narratives, and of course, our timeline begins in 1800. Now, the last 2 buildings that they mentioned were the King Edward Memorial Hospital and the Grand Hotel. Incredible structures all over this location. Structures that have been sitting here all along. Places that we can all go and see. Now for the bonus today. I have a few things that I want to talk about. First is the Somerset House, located in London, England. We reported this fire live on X on August 17th, 2024. Destruction of the past, right in front of our faces, when they tell us that the cause of the fire is not yet known. We are never given the cause of the fire because they're not going to tell on themselves. We know that a group is destroying these buildings. The same exact group, in my opinion, that is attempting to hide our true history from all of us. They're destroying the old world's work over and over. August 19th, 2 days after the fire, they still don't know who or what caused the fire. And it was still being investigated, of course. And just like we saw in France with the fire from episode 87, there was, of course, no cause. And then we can see that nobody talks about it anymore. All of the articles are from a month ago. So once the news is reported of the initial fire, that nobody knows how the fire started, then they just leave it alone and hope that nobody thinks about it anymore. Not a single article about it anymore. Very interesting. This is a true investigation of the 2020s, being able to break the news, get the pop, and then never cover it again. As you can see, nobody is actually going and asking follow-up questions like, who caused the fire in an old world cathedral? Why is this not known ever? Well, I think we know. Incredible places of our true past. I feel like they should have given us the camera back in like 1910. After the power tool got here, after the horses and wagons were done, and after the porta potty era. Because just seeing the technology of the time, that single horsepower engines next to like 20 palaces on the same street, it just gives it all away so fast. Whoever gave us the camera back that fast, I think they really messed that one up, in my opinion. 1910 would have been a better option. They needed to wait like 100 years on that one. So we covered Mumbai, or Bombay, India today. The largest city in India in terms of population. But then we also have Delhi, where our friends are there as well. Just over there protecting this thing, the Victory Tower. It was mostly built between 1199 and 1220. It's all documented, of course. Nothing seems off. The spiral journals of the 1200s people, they were left there, up at the top of the 399 steps. Now, it's weird when you see one of these things, but it's very weird when you see two. And the other one is located all the way in Afghanistan. We can talk about that one and that entire area another time in the future if you want me to. Let me know. But first, we need to see this area on a map. We can see where this one is located in India, but we can also see that there are other important structures right here next to it. Right here. This is the Victory Tower. Very obviously a structure from the old world, the previous civilization. There's no doubt about it. Now, dropping this guy down, we can see the other structures in the same exact area. Structures that do not belong in our timeline. Not fitting in with the narrative that we are all told. Stone structures that have been here all along. A closer look at this so-called Victory Tower and a clear shot that this location has been destroyed. It's incredible that this is still sitting here for all of us to see. Dropping the guy down over here and seeing that they have this. And for so many years, nobody has questioned this. How is that possible? Showing the comparisons to the old world's work and then the way that we construct things today, proving that we are not moving forward. We are going backwards 100%. And something happened here where we live, an event that took the previous civilization with it. Zooming out, we have a supposed tomb, all located right next to each other. A clear shot at the Victory Tower from its location. The previous civilization's work has been sitting here all of our lives, waiting for us to realize it. It's been sitting right here in every single city, all over the world, right in front of our faces. We were all just too blind to see it until now. Dallas, Texas, a city that has so many old world buildings, buildings with narratives that will blow your mind. Buildings, structures that don't fit into our timeline at all. We are going to expose it all today, including the Strauss house. Wait, what? No, let's try that again. Dallas, Texas, home of the old world structures, the previous civilization, home of this old world castle. There we go, much better. A palace that they have just renamed the Dallas County Courthouse, made of red sandstone with rusticated marble accents, located at 100 South Houston Street, Dallas, Texas. We are told that this structure was constructed before the invention of the power tool in 1891. Take a look at the surrounding area. Our civilization's construction at the time versus the old world's work. Should I take it even further? Let's show the world what we're talking about here. A 1930s photo showing the palace in the background and a little wooden hut in the front yard. And then there's another angle of this hut in the front yard. For anybody that's on the fence, should we turn this up a notch? It is time to shred the narrative. Building log courthouses, just like we did in the 1800s. And then building an even larger log structure 6 years later in 1850. Because that's what we did. We built log structures. And then in 1856, the story heats up and gives us exactly what we want to see. The nod yet again. In 1860, it was rebuilt after a fire with multiple courthouses yet again. The fourth courthouse, a 2-story granite structure erected in 1871 with yet another fire in 1880 before it burned down yet again 10 years later in 1890. All of this taking place, so we are told, all to get to the palace castle that we see today. All of these things happening before this castle. And we're not even close to the best part, I promise. After we get done with this narrative, everything about this place will be fully exposed to the world. The 5th courthouse on this site, this palace, begun in 1890 and was completed in just 24 months. Something that we have proven right here on this channel that would be logistically impossible before the power tool. This narrative is completely exposed, meaning that we needed to take it a step further and show that this Orlop character was just that. He was a character with a 4,500-pound bell that originally topped the building, but was removed in 1919. Destruction of the old world. Right here. And here we go. Let's do this. 2 of the 4 clay figures perched on the roof have also been removed. Clay figures. What were the figures on top of this roof? Why not tell us what they were right in this paragraph? Let's go find out exactly what these figures were and why they wouldn't tell us what kind of figures were on top of this roof within the mainstream narrative. Why does it feel like they're hiding something? Well, because they are. And we're going to show exactly what they're hiding right now. On TexasEscapes.com, we see the missing 2 of the 4 original griffins. Griffins on top of this old world building in Dallas, Texas. It's time for everybody to see what is going on here. Griffins, Tartaria, absolutely incredible. 2 years to construct the palace. A palace with griffins, a 4,500-pound bell, removing it. Removing the griffins. Does this sound good to you so far? You tell me. You can see the horse and wagon down here at the bottom, and the griffins up here on the roof. Dirt roads with a palace at the end, with wooden wheels on those carts. Perfect for hauling all this stone all the way to the site. I actually just want you all to take a look at this picture for a minute and see that during this time period of dirt roads and donkeys incorporated, we are told that marble palaces are being thrown together in just 2 years. And to get the fire story over and over, wooden sheds in the front yard, removing evidence. Right next to Willie's Grocery. Look at the wagon power parked outside. It took us 2 years just to renovate it in 2005 to 2007. So can you see the lie very clearly now? This is just one structure today. The amount of lies that we're going to expose today will be shocking, because I have found Max A. Orlop Jr., and I have located his archives. I have also found this character's backstory and told who his father was. He came to America, the land of the free. Free. Yeah. A lot of free buildings and free sons. Especially when they go on to say, he is now a man, 59 years of age, and a member of the Masonic fraternity. Are you not entertained? The Dallas Municipal Building, located at 106 South Harwood Street, Dallas, Texas. We are told that the city purchased the land. Yet again, multiple buildings, telling us that this is the 4th city hall. 4 city halls, are you kidding me? Purchasing it between 1911 and 1912. The plans were drawn up in 1913. The building company goes bankrupt that exact same year. bankrupt, switching owners. The building was completed, and the building opened up in 1914. Can you believe this? Plans drawn up in 1913, and it opens up in 1914. 1 year with a bankruptcy in the middle. This is ridiculous. And I'm not the one writing this stuff. They are. I just want to say that before I show this next part, where the cornerstone of this Dallas municipal building was laid this afternoon with Masonic ceremonies conducted by Grand Master A.W. Houston of San Antonio in Dallas. It's a nice AI name. I'm surprised his first name wasn't Texas. And we're just getting started today. We can see that this palace also holds a sub-basement. To clarify, this structure has a floor below the basement floor. A sub-basement. All constructed in a single year, supposedly. 1 year. Over 100 years ago. We know that these buildings are all connected through tunnels. We've shown this in so many episodes. All over the world, there are massive tunnel networks. In a great construction photo that couldn't be any clearer from 1914. Our civilization being the finders and not sure what to do with the sub-basement. They made it into a shooting range because I'm sure that the reason that they constructed a sub-basement was for a shooting range. No. And here at the bottom, we see that they left a section of the building unfinished because they didn't need the space at the time. This building was found and repurposed. It's very clear. And now they're currently working to destroy this restore and renovate this historic building. And here it is today. The Palace of Dallas. Incredible. 1 year to construct this from start to finish. 10 original 400-pound ornamental bronze doors and relative hardware were all removed in the renovation project. They tell us that they restored it and reinstalled it, but we all know how that goes here. Original windows were destroyed during the 1956 destruction project, a renovation. I don't know why I keep saying destruction. Anyway, years built 1913 to 1914. Restoration project 2015 to 2017. Double the time yet again. To just restore the place, it takes double the time. I believe that this fact alone fully exposes the mainstream narrative. Over and over we see it, where the restoration today, the supposed evolved and advanced group, can't keep up with Donkeys Incorporated. The horse riding wagon community. They just weren't distracted, we are told. The dirt roads were just the perfect condition. When it rained, it was so nice and muddy. It was perfect for hauling the stone from point A to B. And constructing massive palaces in a year, it was just the perfect amount of moonlight back then. It couldn't get any better. The Woodrow Wilson High School, located yet again in Dallas. I located their 1947 edition of their yearbook, where they say that this is the 19th volume of their high school's yearbook. Just take a look at the building for a second. Does it look like it's 19 years old to you? Let's just be honest. It looks like it's been there for a very long time. A lot longer than 19 years. The stone on the top looks worn and shaded darker than the rest. Oh, and it has a fire. January 26th, 2016. Breaking news. As fire shuts down Woodrow Wilson High School, with hundreds of students left on the field, as dozens of fire engines and emergency vehicles crowded Glasgow Drive. First responders on the scene, of course, like we have seen every single time, declined to comment about the ongoing event. One firefighter says, "There's a fire at the school, that's all we know." And that's fine. Maybe he didn't know. But nobody ever does. No official word from anybody on what caused the fire that damaged all 3 floors of the old world building. Calling it an aging building, this is an attempt to destroy yet another one and move us into these demoralizing boxes. and hopefully we all forget about him. Oh, and of course, for the best part, the cornerstone was laid in April 1927, supposedly, and the school opened up right here in 1928. A massive school thrown together in 1 year. 1 year. Are you sure? Me either. The Praetorian Building, Dallas, Texas, 190 feet tall. And this research is incredibly important so that we are all aware of what buildings were here and to hopefully end the destruction of our true past. When the city of Dallas confirmed plans to demolish the building was fully demolished by the summer of 2013, being replaced by a sculpture of an eye. And when you know, you know. And once you know, you don't go back to not knowing, especially when we all know and have covered the fact that Dallas has its own Great Fire in July 1860. Remember that date. A fire broke out in the square, destroying most of the buildings. Knowing that we have a lot of buildings in 1860, could you even imagine what buildings were here in Dallas that were from the previous civilization that were destroyed by a fire that spreads from stone building to stone building, somehow getting another awesome view of the Dallas County Courthouse here from the 1900s. But with a population of 700 people in Dallas in 1860. Again, a population of nobody and a total of 0 cars, not a single power tool. Building palaces. We are told that a population of 700 people, where half of them are children. How many of them know how to build a palace? We are told that this was taking place all over the world. How sure of that are you now? Is it possible that what we are told could be a massive lie, covering up that there was a group of people here, a group that was extremely advanced, a massive population that needed their work destroyed in great bombs that they call fires, destroying their work so that we didn't see it and start asking questions, leaving only a few behind. And guess who gets to use the ones that are left behind? Me? No. You? No. Do you find that odd? The Great Fire of Dallas in 1860 is a significant event with a population of only 700 people. Yet, they have a city filled with buildings. Most historical accounts suggest that the fire, while causing extensive property damage, did not result in any confirmed deaths. Do you find that odd? At what point does this register with everybody? Destroying much of the downtown area. And when you see one of them, it's odd, but you don't see the pattern. But when you put it all together, it begins to make sense. The Houston Great Fire, 1912. The cause of the fire was never confirmed. And of course, nobody was killed. And no one was seriously injured. Now, for anyone that watches darts, you're gonna know this building very well. The Alexandra Palace, or the Ali Pali. It is home to the World Darts Championship since 2008. If you've seen my first 56 episodes, you'll know that we've just located yet another old world building. The Alexandra Palace was built by John Johnson, another reoccurring AI-generated name, and Alfred Meeson, where it opened in 1873, but following a fire. 16 days after it opened. 16 days after it opened? Really? This is incredible, the amount of fire narratives, because we all know at this point, and have covered the Crystal Palace, that they just threw into this story, connecting the two buildings, saying that North London's counterpart to the Crystal Palace. And we know here that the Crystal Palace also burned down in a fire. The connections that are made within these narratives are incredible. So let's just follow this path of fires for a minute and see where they lead us. And we'll come back to the Alexandra Palace right after. The Crystal Palace had a reoccurring name because the AI says the daughter's name is also Crystal. And they were walking their dog. The dog was probably also named Crystal. And they just realized randomly that the massive crystal structure was burning down, where 89 fire engines and 400 firemen couldn't save the building. How long was the building burning down before they realized it? Nobody saw any smoke? Crystal and her dog were the only ones to realize it. So she walks her dog, finds the burning down Crystal Palace. And the true cause of the fire will forever be a mystery, where we are also told another clear lie, where 100,000 people came to watch the blaze. They told us that within a few hours, the fire was done and the palace was destroyed. So in a matter of a few hours, 100,000 people just hopped up out of bed in 1936 and they ran right over there in the middle of the night to go watch this fire. And this is clearly an AI generated story, when it just throws another fire in the exact same paragraph for fun. In 1866, when the North Transept burnt down and didn't have proper insurance coverage from Geico to rebuild the building. No. This was from the old world, and our civilization today cannot rebuild it, especially in 1866. We still do have a ton of structures from the old world, like the York Cathedral, also located in the North Transept, where they tell us that construction began over 1,397 years ago. Well, actually, they tell us they found it, but the booming 627s. Can you believe that this is what we're being told? The year 627. Are you kidding me? And we're supposed to believe this. A time before paper. There were no phones. There were no power tools for another 1,268 years. Zero training needed, nothing. We are supposed to believe that they had nothing, but they had it covered. And they were master builders at the exact same time. We are told that there's no electricity, zero modern plumbing. All of these things were unnecessary in the 627s. But being able to construct massive cathedrals, that was just embedded in their DNA. Over 1,400 years later, today, we have classes that go into great detail, supposedly, learning architecture skills from the very best teachers of our time period. It's the year 2024. Yet, I don't see anybody constructing this type of structure for everybody to see. But yet they did this so many times, all over the world. And guess what? All of their work is still here for us to see. Could you imagine the buildings, the structures that were here before we were born, that have been destroyed by now? Just look at the size of the doorways. Everything was just massive and over the top to our civilization, but completely normal to the old world. And of course, in the year 741, they know all about this building. But 1,000 years later, as we've shown, that they have no idea who constructed anything. They don't tell us any details about the construction process, how many men, where the materials come from, none of that. But here we go. 741, not 742, 741 on the dot. The church was destroyed by a fire. So we get the nod. And how did we not see the fires before? This is insane, the amount of fires. How can every single one of these old world buildings hold a fire narrative and nobody noticed it until now? These fires are insane, and a very clear pattern that this narrative was just sitting here waiting for us to find it. Egbert's librarian got to work. He started the reconstruction, and thankfully, Ian Bald was there to take over and wrap this palace up, no problem. I couldn't be more thankful that we know the truth, that these stories are just that, they're stories. It is so much more fun knowing the truth. Understanding that no librarian just sits around waiting for a fire to then knock out palaces 1,400 years ago. Understanding that no damage took place in 1069. And what we see today is the original building. And there were no Thomases of the 1070s getting the repairs done in less than 5 years, for it then to be destroyed yet again. 5 years after that, getting rebuilt again, with perfection, of course, very easily, that they could just switch up the entire style of the cathedral In 5 years, switching it now to the Norman style. Switching it up, no problem at all, 1,000 years ago. Just because the Norman style was just the style of the times 5 years later. The good old Norman style. Anyone switching their homes to the Norman style this year? Anyone know any librarians in the Norman style construction business? So after this gets done, 1,000 years ago, during the day, at nighttime, they hop on their donkey and go to sleep in their sheds for another big day of construction. Freezing in the winters, of course. And you're not on the fence still, are you? I'll keep going. Where the new Norman style cathedral was damaged by fire in 1137. But don't worry, the 1100s had it covered because it was soon repaired. All remodeled in 1154. And this is all fully documented, of course? No. And there were many witnesses? No. Lots of evidence of all of these fires and reconstruction projects? There's none. But just trust them. They know what really happened, and you don't. Yeah, it's not working anymore. A new one was built, all in the Norman style, with ease 900 years ago. When in 1390, the Norman style goes out of style and needs to be demolished because they could be very picky in the 1300s. This was not up to their standards. Time for a new style. 15 years later, in 1405, fully documented, of course, no, this thing was all done and wrapped up with a brand new high altar. 2 years later, the central tower collapses. But don't worry. 13 years later, 1420, the tower is back in business. Oh my, you gotta be joking. In 1829, an arson attack, and in 1840, an accidental fire. And in 1984, York Minster suffered a serious fire in its south transept during the early morning hours, where they made the decision to deliberately collapse the roof of the south transept by pouring tens of thousands of gallons of water onto it. We get this very in-depth story in 1984 because we were all here to see it, and it actually happened. Remember, a fire is a great way to destroy the old world. There's nobody to blame, and they get to collect the insurance check at the exact same time. But the fires before the 1900s, in my opinion, they are nods. They never happened. They are simply throwing it into the narrative. So for the fire that we actually saw in 1984, they have this incredible narrative and documented accounts with people putting the fire out and all of it. But for all of the other fires, there was nothing. It just burned down. And boom, it's back to normal. No problem over and over. Switching styles if they wanted to, which isn't logical at all. And of course, they have no idea what caused the massive fire. With these ridiculous stats, 80% chance it was caused by lightning. There's a 10% chance it was caused by yet another mysterious arson. But they got away without anyone knowing. And another 10% chance it was caused by an electrical fault, with a 100% chance that they know the truth and are lying. And can we just say one thing before we move on? How many times did we see the name Thomas and William in this story? I mean, I get it. It's a popular name in the 1000s. It was a trendy name back then, but come on. After what we've seen, not only do we get the AI fires, but we also get the reoccurring names. We get Thomas of Bayeux, Thomas Fairfax, Thomas Becket, then we get William the Conqueror of the 1066s. The drawing of the building by William Martin, you know, the brother of the arsonist, which at this point is just rubbing it in our faces. And to top it off, I think this paragraph should be changed from shrines to Williams. Because are we talking about shrines or are we talking about Williams? With William Fitzherbert, St. William of York, which is perhaps associated with St. William's College, we get William de Wickwayne and William Markham. If you ask me, that's not normal or mathematically possible for a single paragraph about a true narrative. It is, on the other hand, 100% possible that an AI generated these narratives. Now, we got away from the original building of the Alexandra Palace. I think for good reason, but let's get back to it now. We know that it also holds the fire narrative, where the story begins with a company name that is definitely AI generated. The Great Northern Palace Company? How many Great Northern Palaces was this Great Northern Palace Company knocking out. In the mid-1800s, they apparently only built this palace and then decided that that was the end of the company, with 0 other buildings listed to their name. We have to just stop for a second and really look at what they're telling us. This guy named Owen Jones, who they used for the Crystal Palace as well, of course, started this project for the Alexandra Palace in 1859, supposedly. A year after that, this Great North Palace Company just comes out of nowhere. And we are told that the Palace Construction Company couldn't get the funds to build their first and only palace. Construction materials were acquired and recycled from the large 1862 International Exhibition Building. So they took all the pieces from this massive building that they just didn't want anymore. In my opinion, the buildings both have the exact same material. So they are trying to attempt to explain why this is the case by saying that they just went over to the other one, took the other one apart, and used it for this one, when in reality, they were built by the same old world civilization. So let's pretend it's 2024, and we make a new construction company called Your Everyday Palace Construction Company, and they have 0 money, and just start ripping apart the SoFi Stadium. And they build a little miniature version of it. And we all agree that this is a great idea and totally normal and acceptable. Are we all on the same page that that is ridiculous? Okay, good. Let's continue. In 1863, 3 years later, they begin to try and explain away why this palace sits on top of a hill, which is very interesting because we all know about the hills and how they most likely are just grass, covering bigger structures under what we can see, especially when this is installed into the narrative that the palace sits on a site that stands on a ridge more than 300 feet high. So in 1865, they finally get this project started. They get the job done in 1873, and 16 days later, the whole thing burns down. And 4,700 items. In my opinion, these are old world items, especially when they tell us that they are items of historic value. These items, in my opinion, were never even in this building. They probably still have these items, but we're told they were all destroyed in this fire that happened 16 days after the palace is done. Here is where we find a massive logistical slip-up by the narrator. We were told that the entire building was supposedly destroyed on the inside, saying that only the outer walls survived. And we were told that the palace took 8 years to build. Well, in 1873, the fire took place. They had to clean the entire place up, plan out a new one, and get the job done somehow in the 1800s, before the power tool was invented, and get this reconstruction project done in less than 2 years. A massive slip up. This right here, in my opinion, proves that this entire story is all a lie. This is logistically impossible today in 2024. We would not be able to come close to getting this project done in that time frame. Yet, in 1873 to 1875, we are told, and we are supposed to believe, that they had no problem at all doing it. Just giving us a quick sentence that the palace was quickly rebuilt and reopened in 1875. How many men did they need? Who constructed that one? Who cleaned the other one up? And this wasn't like a few basic drywall sheets that they just had to throw together and call it a day. No. They say the brand new Alexandra Palace, the one that took less than 2 years in the 1800s, before the power tool, contained a concert hall, art galleries, a museum, a lecture hall, a library, a banqueting room, and a large theater. Why are they leaving out massive details for this project? This is incredible. This place even had a horse racing course that they destroyed in 1970, a Japanese village, and other things. And do you also find it odd that these sports teams just started popping up in the late 1800s? There are none from the 1700s. Do you find that odd? This goes back to episode 10 and 38. that the timeline, in my opinion, begins in 1776. And I want to make this clear. I don't think that the USA is the reason for the kickstart. This isn't a USA versus the world topic. Every country, in my opinion, was also created to create borders and division. Passports, as we have talked about, have also just arrived in the 1800s, so that you are physically jailed within the walls that they have provided, unless you have papers to visit other lands. My point is that we are told that for millions of years, humans invented nothing, but were very capable of building the Milan Cathedral and all the incredible structures from thousands of years ago. And these civilizations that constructed these things, we are told, had nothing. They didn't have electricity, no cars, no planes, no trains, no phones to communicate. Yet we see star forts all over the world. They look exactly the same. With zero communication, we are told that only 500 years ago, Columbus found America. Yet there are star forts all over the USA that look exactly like the ones in Europe. We have nothing for millions of years, but so many so-called inventions have just come out of nowhere in the last 200 years. The probability of us having nothing, riding by feathers, riding on donkeys, no power tools, and living in sheds, that is simply, in my mind, mathematically impossible. Oh, did you think we were done with the Alexandra Palace? A fire happened, as we've shown, inside the Alexandra Palace. 16 days after the opening in 1873. They rebuilt the building, as we were told, in just 2 years. Completed in 1875. Now, as a reminder, these old fires, most likely in my opinion, never happened. And they are simply a nod to the hidden group that this specific building is from the old world, built by a previous civilization. Now, there's a big difference between a fire from the 1800s, or as we've shown from the 1300s, which is ridiculous, but there's a big difference from a fire in the 1800s that we cannot find any evidence that it ever took place, and a fire within the last 100 years that we were all around to see and document. And this is when things get interesting. When in 1980, a Haringey Council took over the trusteeship of the Alexandra Palace, insuring it for $31 million. As we have explained, a fire from the last 100 years is not only a nod, it's also a great way to destroy one of these buildings from the previous civilization without anyone to blame. Not only do they get to destroy the building, but they also collect the insurance check. It is a win-win for them. And this Haringey Council is worth an investigation, because just 6 months after they insured it for $31 million, a fire started under the organ that completely spread. It destroyed half of the building. Again, the outer walls survived because these outer walls are from the old world and not by us. House fires also don't destroy stone, brick, or marble. It simply doesn't get hot enough, and we've shown this as well. The famous organ was destroyed, even though they were already dismantling it. What are the odds of that? And took our civilization, while we were all here to see it, 8 years to reopen. When in 1873, it took them 2 years. Are you seeing the lie very clearly now? Multiple fires, tons of destruction, and an incredible amount of lies, all just sitting here, waiting for us to pick it apart and expose it to the world every single week. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I'll be back very soon with much more. See ya.